I'm sitting here in the Regency Garden in the middle of Alton, near the High Street, opposite the building where Jane Austen's brother ran his bank, looking at the Regency Garden and looking at the Jane Austen statue that have been funded by the Grow Up Fund. Alton Town Council approached EHDC. We had got a fund from the Rural Prosperity Fund to encourage rural industries, to encourage rural tourism, and this was a perfect project for us, helping fund the statue, helping fund the redevelopment of this garden. It's a really nice space. It's trying to encourage people to use the centre of Alton more than they have historically. Tourists in particular coming in. Jane Austen's a huge feature for the local area. Obviously when you drive down into Hampshire, it says welcome to Jane Austen County. She lived in Chorlton, which is a short walk from here. She's a fantastic example of why people come to Hampshire, why people come to rural Hampshire, and just seeing the way the government's money has been put into trying to develop different parts of the economy of rural East Hampshire.
My name is Mark Corris. I'm a wildlife sculptor. I've been sculpting for, crikey, the last 35, 40 years. Alton Town Council approached John Varelowitz of Morris Singer, international bronze foundry, but based local to Alton. They approached Morris Singer to see if they had a sculptor who would be interested in doing Jane Austen. Most people would know him as a sculptor of wildlife. I travel the world finding the most wonderful and difficult to find animals, sculpting them in the wild. It's all about movement, it's about life. But Jane Austen, you try and understand her as a person. You understand the books that she's written. So if you do all that, you've already got in your mind movement and life and presence. And so when John approached me, the answer to that was a categorical yes. Of course I would be interested. What a fascinating part of history to be involved with. 250th anniversary of Jane Austen. A meeting was set up. We started to sort of discuss what was wanted. Do we really want a complete figure, full dress, down to her shoes, standing there? Or could it be something slightly more subtle? So I just felt, let's make a bust of her, head and shoulders, and have her almost rising spiritually from her 6 main books. And those books would be on the top of a plinth, and that would stand 5'8". So, you know, the mission to have her standing there life-size is still there.
Hello, so my name's Caroline Jane Knight. I am the 5th great niece of Jane Austen and the last of Jane's nieces to have grown up at Chorlton House on the ancestral estate where, of course, Jane herself lived and wrote. I'm patron of Jane Austen Regency Week, and I come to Alton every single year for Jane Austen Regency Week. It's such an amazing, amazing festival. And this year is even more special than ever. And I couldn't be more thrilled to see such a wonderful statue of Jane being installed in Alton. Alton was such an important town for Jane. Obviously, Chorlton is where she lived in the cottage, but Alton would have been where Jane would have come for shopping and to buy materials. And of course, we know that Henry's Bank, her brother Henry's Bank, was on Crown Hill in the High Street. Alton would have been such an important destination for the Austen ladies, and I'm sure we know that they walked to Alton very frequently to shop and to buy materials and things like that. The colours on the statue are just wonderful, and I think it's particularly lovely to have her books represented, obviously, as well as Jane herself.
There's so many ways of creating a sculpture. You can carve it out of marble, wood, model it in clay, plasticine, cast into bronze. But bronze, I think, has an absolute magical feeling of the surfaces you can get through the modelling of the clay, and ultimately the moulding and the lost wax process to cast into bronze. But then you've also got the wonderful depth of colour and patina that you can get into it. And I think that we have achieved that with the Jane Austen sculpture. There's a real life in the surface, the smoothness of her cheeks, and yet the slight roughness of her garments and her bonnet. Bronze is a material that's been used throughout history. It is the most fabulous, enduring material.
The Grow Up Fund is a fantastic example of the way that the District Council is able to apply to the central government for money that can go to local organisations, whether they're charities, parish councils, voluntary bodies, to help us fund particularly capital projects. And the more than the District Council can do to help them using central government money, the happier we are with the way that's being spent.